All right, so it's been a long couple days. Agnus gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. Birth went fine. Birth went great. Afterwards, not so much. We're going to tell the story. Let's go. So as I said in the beginning, my ewe, Agnus, she gave birth. We were expecting her due any day now. And when I left for work, there were no signs of labor. About 3-4 hours later, I get a phone call and a text message from my wife saying she was in labor. She was panting, she was standing still, amniotic sac was broken, fluid everywhere, and by the time I could get home, I was 5 minutes down the road, and I was told we had twin lambs. Fantastic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the story of what happened afterwards. But just like everything in life, there's always a teaching moment from everything we do. So at the end, I'll try and draw some type of conclusion of things that I should have done better, things to learn from, and hopefully you can learn from them too. And kind of the summary of the story is the lambs started out equal. Then the second one, the ewe, just continually got weaker and weaker and weaker. So at first we thought it was a bonding issue. Then I thought it was just an energy issue. And then I got to the point where I was thinking it was a nutrient deficiency or white muscle disease. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you those video footages, kind of tell you the story throughout the day, and then I'll see you afterwards. My beautiful, lovely wife was able to get some video of the labor process and what this girl looked like when she was in labor. And I'll try and get that up and put it in this video right here. And we have two lambs. This one right here is the boy. The one behind me is the girl. And right now I'm trying to decide whether or not I need to intervene with the ewe. She is definitely far weaker. I haven't seen her nursing as much. The mom is not as concerned or around her. What I was able to do was I was able to strip some colostrum out of her, put it in a bottle, and bottle feed her a few moments ago. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to continue to be monitoring the status of the ewe, and just to make sure that she is actually getting the energy she needs, eating as she needs, and to make sure that I don't have to pull her from the mom and that she is bonding with the mom. Okay, so I'm worried about one of my lambs. She is not nearly as energetic or active as the other one. Very lethargic, especially in comparison to the other twin. So what I'm going to do is I had some Neutr drench on hand that I bought before lambing. And I'm going to follow the directions on this. It's just a rapid, rich nutritional supplement to kind of help give her a little bit more energy, in addition to the colostrum that I'm stripping and giving to her in a bottle. The mother is bonded with her. She's sniffing her, kind of like my Daisy just did over here. Your tongue is very rough, but thank you for licking me. You are a sweet cow. Yes. The mother is bonding with her. She's licking her, she's smelling her, she's letting her near her. So I'm not too worried about that. Now I'm mostly just worried about her not having the energy to actually get up and go nurse. So this should hopefully work with it. Let's go. Oh, thank you. Oh, I know, I'm not your calf. I know I milk you, but I'm not your calf. I know I'm more alert than she once was. The colostrum is definitely helping. As we got into nighttime, it became clear that she wasn't getting any better, and it was going to be getting cold. Not below freezing, but cold. And we were concerned that she wasn't going to make it through the night. So what we did then was I brought her inside the house. Attempted to do the bottle again, and it just wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't getting enough colostrum into her. And they need about 1 to 2 ounces per pound of body weight within the first 12 hours. And I was running out of time. I had about 6 hours left to get at minimum 7 ounces into her. So at that point, I decided to tube her, where I take a catheter tube, I shove it down her esophagus, and I pour the colostrum directly into the lamb's stomach. This is something that I've never done before. I didn't initially do this because I was uncomfortable with it. If you put it down her trachea instead of her esophagus, well, now you pour 3 to 4 ounces of colostrum into the lamb's lungs and she dies. So it's a much riskier thing. But at this point, I was out of options. I needed to get some colostrum into her. I knew some of the signs to look for. You could hear the gurgling in the tube. The lamb would be chewing. She's not going to be in excruciating pain. So there are some telltales to make sure that I was in the esophagus. And I did it. I tubed her twice that night and then once in the morning and left for work. Left her with mom and went to work. And when I came back, everything was perfectly fine. Hey, Agnes. She's worried about her baby. This is the ewe, by the way. So, finally, after going through all those troubleshootings, figuring out that she wasn't that she was bonded, giving her a little bit of colostrum boost through a bottle, and then finally I ended up having to tube her 3 times and give her 2 nutrient drenches. And now she is thriving. She's climbing on top of mom. She's nursing by herself. She's running around. You can hear mom nervous in the background, doesn't like me petting her. So what all can I learn from this? Well, the biggest thing is planning and preparedness, as well as a little bit of grit. So I was prepared for the lambs. I had the necessary supplies. I had disinfectant. I had OB lube. I had gloves. I had the drench. I had a bottle. I had a tube. I had some supplies to do things that I felt comfortable with. And I felt comfortable doing most of those things. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of reading, so I kind of knew some of the things that could go wrong. I found my limit of what I was comfortable with doing and what I wasn't, and when I would need to call a vet. But in terms of hand stripping colostrum, feeding nutrient drenches, giving a bottle, I was very comfortable. I didn't have my jug set up. I currently have 2 piglets in my jug, so that's one thing I could have done different. I could have moved the pigs out and immediately ruled out a bonding issue because the jug is a small enclosure that forces the mom and the lamb to bond. So that's one bad thing. I should have had my jug cleaned out. I should have had that prepared, and I should have moved my pigs before lambing season. But then came to the bottle. I was not comfortable tubing a lamb. You get it wrong and you end up drowning her. You pour the colostrum down the lungs instead of into the stomach. I'd never done it before. I wasn't comfortable with it. But it got to the point where I needed to do it. It was let her die or suck up my discomfort and tube her. And that's what I did. So when we're taking care of animals and we're homesteading and we're doing things like this, we need to be prepared, both mentally, in terms of knowledge, knowing the possible things that could go wrong, trying to figure those out, getting tools or equipment so that way we can combat those and overcome them. And we need to be comfortable doing it. And lastly, we need to have friends. Because throughout this entire process, I phoned friends. Namely, my sister. She's been doing lambs and sheeps far longer than I have. And she gave me a lot of different things to check for that I could quickly rule out. So, knowing is half the battle. Be prepared. Do your research. Read up on things that could go wrong. Read up on the remedies of those things. Know what you're comfortable with. Know what your limits are. And when you reach those limits, be prepared to call for help. I hope you learned something. I hope you like, subscribe, and share, and stay around for more content like this. We're going to be diving all into sheeps and lambs.